1 in 5 people are neurodivergent, meaning they have a difference in brain function. This 1 in 5 may be autistic, dyslexic, dyspraxic, or have ADHD, or another form of neurodiversity.
I think being in sport as someone who's dyslexic and dyscalculic can be really challenging day to day, particularly with the numbers and distances and times and things. I think it's something that I've come to realise that the reasons why I do sport have very much to do with the fact that I am neurodiverse as well.
Obviously, people will have heard probably of dyslexia. I mean, give me a sense of what it's like to be both dyslexic and dyscalculic.
Dyslexia is words and literacy. I'll read a passage of text and I could read it 3 or 4 times, but it might not fully go in. Processing in my brain takes a little bit longer. But for me, with dyscalculia, I feel like that affects me a lot more as an adult.
Give me a sense of how that all comes to play. What are the main challenges, would you say, in sport?
I've been known to miss a couple of flights. And yeah, I think when you see those things on the board where I've sort of read the flight time and that sort of moved and the gate number haven't aligned, just little things like that. Little things like even telling the time on a non-digital clock or knowing how far a distance is in training affect me in my day-to-day still as an adult. Particularly on race day, we're usually given a call time for when we need to be ready and in the call room, and you sort of have to work back from that time. So there's a lot of numbers, and I usually write out a schedule for every race day for what time I'm going to do everything, just to take that process of thinking away from a really solid support system really helps. My coach is definitely really on board with that. He'll be like, no, we're just going to do 2 laps a day or 3 laps or 4 laps. And that really helps me cognitively to be able to just work out how far I've got to run.
Give me a sense of how you feel being neurodivergent helps you within a sport setting.
I think if you already have really good resilience, then you can bring that to sport. But I think there's little things like attention to detail and spatial awareness that are built into different neurodiversities. I know so many people that think they might be neurodivergent but have never had a diagnosis. But essentially that's why I've worked closely with British Dyslexic Association and being an ambassador to sort of push for their overall goal, which is to get specialist teaching assessors in every school.
And give me a sense then of growing up, obviously, you know, growing up in Jamaica, what that was like, and not knowing that you were dyslexic and dyscalculic.
My experience of school in Jamaica was actually a really incredible way to learn, and I feel like it did tap into that sort of creativeness and practicality that really I find supports my learning. It was when I came to the UK and just being sort of in a different and more structured environment where I started to notice that I was thinking a little bit differently, and I was really lucky that my mum picked up on that quite quickly.
How important is it for young people to have an interest at school that perhaps isn't English or maths if they're neurodivergent? I mean, of how important sport was to you at an early age?
Knowing that I could be really good at something and enjoy that side of things was so important because it brought me a lot of confidence. Every neurodiversity is so different, and helping other people to understand what works for you, I think is really key for navigating different spaces.